Sam Carter was a simple man living in a small American town, the kind of man who worked hard every day but never seemed to get ahead. He was a factory worker, earning just enough to keep food on the table for his wife and 2 kids. His hands were always calloused, his clothes smelled faintly of grease and smoke, and yet despite his struggles, Sam had a heart of gold. He believed in doing the right thing, even when life rarely returned the favor. One late evening after finishing an exhausting double shift at the factory, Sam trudged along the dimly lit road toward home. The night was quiet, broken only by the sound of crickets and the occasional whoosh of a car passing by. Sam was thinking about how tired he was, how his kids had probably already gone to bed, and how he wished he could give them a better life. That's when he heard it, a loud screech followed by a sickening crash of metal against metal. His heart jumped. Just a few yards ahead, a luxury car had skidded off the road and slammed into a tree. Smoke billowed from the hood and one of the headlights flickered weakly in the darkness. Sam dropped his worn lunchbox and sprinted toward the wreck. Inside, he saw a man slumped over the steering wheel, his forehead bleeding, his expensive suit torn. The man groaned in pain but wasn't conscious enough to move. Sam's instincts kicked in. He yanked at the door until it gave way, ignoring the heat radiating from the crumpled hood. "Hang on, buddy," Sam muttered, pulling the injured man out with every ounce of strength he had. He laid him gently on the grass by the roadside. With no first aid kit on hand, Sam tore his own work shirt into strips and pressed them against the man's wound to stop the bleeding. His hands shook not from fear but from urgency. "Stay with me," he whispered, glancing at the man's pale face. He shouted at passing cars until finally someone stopped and called 911. Sam stayed by the stranger's side, talking to him, keeping him awake, refusing to leave until the ambulance arrived. When paramedics finally rushed in, they took over quickly, loading the man onto a stretcher. One of them told Sam, "You saved his life by keeping pressure on the wound. Good work." Sam nodded quietly, relief washing over him. He didn't care who the man was, rich or poor, important or not. He was just glad he could help. Sam walked, the rest of the way home in his undershirt, tired but strangely at peace. He had done the right thing, but the next morning, that peace shattered. At the factory, his supervisor called him into the office. "You were late for your shift yesterday," the man barked. Sam tried to explain what had happened, that he'd saved a man's life, but the supervisor cut him off. "We don't tolerate excuses here. You're fired." Sam walked out of the office with his head low, the weight of the world pressing on him. He had saved a stranger's life, but now he had lost the job that kept his family afloat. Little did he know, the story was far from over. The morning after Sam lost his job, the Carter household was filled with silence. His wife tried to stay strong for the kids, but Sam could see the fear in her eyes. Losing the only source of income felt like a death sentence. Sam sat at the small wooden table in their kitchen, staring at his rough hands. He couldn't understand how doing the right thing, saving a man's life, had cost him everything. He barely touched his coffee when a strange sound rattled the windows. It was faint at first, then grew louder, like thunder rolling through the sky. Sam stepped outside, shielding his eyes from the sun, and froze. 2 massive helicopters were descending over the small neighborhood, kicking up dust and shaking the trees. Neighbors peeked out of their windows, pointing and whispering in disbelief. The helicopters landed in an open field across from Sam's modest home. Armed security guards stepped out first, followed by medics and sharply dressed assistants. Finally, a man emerged, tall, wearing a crisp suit, walking carefully with a cane. Sam's heart skipped a beat. It was the same man he had pulled from the wreck just nights ago, the billionaire. The neighborhood kids ran closer, their parents holding them back. Everyone was watching as the wealthy stranger slowly crossed the road, his eyes locked on Sam. "Mr. Carter?" he said, his voice carrying authority but softened by gratitude. "Yes, sir," Sam answered, unsure what to expect. The man extended his hand, his eyes glistening. "You saved my life. The doctors told me if you hadn't been there, I wouldn't be standing here today." His voice broke slightly as he added, "I owe you more than words can ever repay." Sam shook his hand humbly. "I just did what anyone should have done." The billionaire smiled faintly. "No, not everyone would have stopped, most would have driven by, but you—" He paused, looking Sam in the eye. "You gave a stranger everything you had, even the shirt off your back. And then, I hear you, lost your job because of it?" Sam nodded quietly, embarrassed. "It's all right, I'll find something else." But before he could say more, the billionaire motioned to his aides. One stepped forward holding a folder. "Not anymore," the man said firmly. "From this day forward, you'll never have to worry again." Inside the folder were papers, documents transferring ownership of a new home, and a financial trust set up in Sam's name. Sam's eyes widened in disbelief. I can't accept this." "You can, and you will," the billionaire replied. "This isn't charity. This is justice. You gave me a second chance at life. Let me give you and your family the same." Tears welled in Sam's eyes as his wife and children rushed outside, stunned by the sight. The billionaire knelt down, smiling at the kids. "Your father is a hero," he said. As the helicopters roared back to life, neighbors gathered, clapping and cheering. Sam stood in the middle of it all, holding his family close, his heart pounding with gratitude. The poor man who had been fired for saving a life was now given one of his own, a new beginning. And that day, Sam learned that sometimes life takes everything away, only to return it in ways we could never imagine.